Good day. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times this Thursday, October 15, 2020. For today's editorial, is censorship now Palace communication policy? Palace spokesman Harry Roque Jr. stirred up controversy this week by criticizing, not for the first time, the University of the Philippines, University of Santo Tomas, OCTA research team, saying that the data analysis experts should refrain from publicizing their recommendations on quarantine classifications in the country in order to avoid preempting government from making decisions. Roque must immediately retract that statement and clarify that suppressing information from credible researchers about the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 has not become official government policy, because that is precisely the impression his ill-considered opinion has given the public. Roque made this statement in response to reporters' questions about a bulletin from the data research firm, which recommended that several localities, Bawan in Batangas, Calbayog in Western Samar, and General Trias in Cavite, be downgraded to stricter quarantine status due to a spike in COVID-19 cases in those areas. He said he had asked the OCTA to stop making recommendations on classification, as it is really the job of experts. I understand they have one or two epidemiologists, but it's still not the same number of experts working with the IATF. He suggested that the OCTA endorse its recommendations privately to the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-EID. The subtle dig at the qualifications of the OCTA researchers led some commenters on social media to wryly suggest that not the same number of experts may have been correct in a way other than what Roque intended, as it is not clear who among the active duty and retired military and police officials who make up a majority of IATF-EID members are actually epidemiologists. OCTA Research is a private data analysis and research consulting firm formed by experts in various disciplines from the University of the Philippines, along with other experts from the University of Santo Tomas and Providence College. Although the firm cooperates quite closely and is supported to some extent by the schools, all three institutions have taken pains to point out that it is a separate entity whose views may not be endorsed by or reflect the official positions of the universities. The latest statement is the second time Roque has publicly expressed insecurity with the OCTA's conclusions. The first happened at the end of June, when he offered a fist-pumping "Congratulations Philippines" cheer upon learning that the number of confirmed cases at the time, which was just over 36,000, was less than the 40,000 the researchers had predicted. As a private entity, academic associations notwithstanding, OCTA Research is as constitutionally entitled to free expression as anyone else. For Roque, a well-known rights lawyer, to suggest that curtailing the firm's exercise of that right in publicly sharing the results of its work is somehow necessary for the public good is dangerous and completely unacceptable. Likewise, his suggestion that the OCTA recommendations would preempt a decision of the IATF and the President is specious in the extreme. The IATF-EID, being the body that advises the President, is entirely responsible for its own recommendations and is under no obligation to consider or even acknowledge those coming from outside sources. Having been presented with the public recommendation from credible experts for the sake of transparency and mandating its own credibility with the public, the IATF-EID should have responded publicly to the OCTA findings with its own conclusions, explaining the rationale behind any recommendations it would make regarding the three identified COVID-19 hotspots. Whether the task force's recommendation matched that of the OCTA or not would not really matter, but the signal that it was considering all available information would definitely matter in terms of building public confidence in its management of the COVID-19 crisis. Roque, for his part, should be reminded that in his role as spokesman for the administration, and by extension the IATF-EID, it is his responsibility to clearly communicate information from officials, and not his own opinion on matters. Unless quashing publicly shared information from a private source has indeed become official government policy, and as that would be illegal, we strongly doubt that it has. Roque would have done better to refer questions about the OCTA recommendation to the IATF EID and not sown unnecessary public anxiety. And that's the editorial for Thursday, October 15, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.